The broken warrior Marcus Kane wiped the grease from his hands as the workshop doors hissed open. The smell of burnt metal and ozone filled the air around Station Delta 7, humanity's furthest outpost in the Outer Rim. As head mechanic, he'd seen every kind of damaged equipment imaginable, but nothing prepared him for what walked through his door. She was tall, nearly 7 feet, with skin that shimmered like polished obsidian. Her species, the Zephyrians, were known throughout the galaxy as fearsome warriors. But this one looked different, defeated. Her combat suit hung in tatters, revealing deep gashes across her arms and torso. Most striking were her eyes, twin pools of silver that seemed to hold galaxies of pain. "I need repairs," she said, her voice carrying the musical undertones typical of her people. But there was something broken in it, like a song played on damaged strings. "Name's Marcus," he offered, gesturing to his workbench. "And you are?" "Zyra." She placed her damaged helmet on the counter with trembling hands. "I was told humans were skilled with technology." Marcus examined the helmet, whistling low. The neural interface was completely fried, the biorhythmic sensors scattered like confetti. This wasn't just battle damage. This was systematic destruction. Someone had wanted to ensure this warrior could never fight again. "What happened out there?" he asked, already knowing she might not answer. Zyra's shoulders tensed. "My unit. We were betrayed, ambushed by the Korvac Empire. They used pulse weapons designed specifically to disable our gear." Her voice cracked slightly. "I'm the only one who escaped." Marcus had heard about the Korvac, a ruthless species that had been expanding their territory through the sector. They'd been pushing toward human space for months, but the Zephyrians had stood as a buffer between them and Earth's colonies. "I can fix this," Marcus said, his voice gentle but confident. "Might take some time, but I've worked with biotech before. Had to learn when we started cooperating with other species." Zyra looked up, surprise flickering across her features. "You would help me? Even though my people failed to protect your colonies?" "Failed?" Marcus laughed, but not unkindly. "Lady, you and your people have been holding the line against the Korvac for 2 years. That's not failure, that's heroism." For a moment, something shifted in her expression. The rigid warrior mask slipped, revealing something vulnerable underneath. She quickly looked away, but not before Marcus caught the glimmer of moisture in her silver eyes. "I'll need to work on the neural interface first," he continued, pretending not to notice her distress. "These connections are delicate. Mind if I ask how the biorhythmic sync works with your nervous system?" As they worked together, Marcus noticed how her hands shook whenever she wasn't focused on a task. Battle trauma, he recognized. He'd seen it in human soldiers too. But there was something else, a deeper grief that seemed to weigh her down like gravity itself. Understanding pain. Next morning, Zyra returned to find Marcus already at work. He'd been up most of the night, studying Zephyrian technology through the station's database. The complexity was staggering. Their gear didn't just respond to thought. It literally bonded with the warrior's life force. "You didn't have to start so early," she said, settling into the chair beside his workbench. "Couldn't sleep anyway," Marcus replied, carefully realigning a neural pathway. "Besides, this is fascinating stuff. Your people don't just wear armor, you become one with it." Zyra nodded slowly. "The bonding process begins in childhood. We grow up with our gear, learning to trust it with our lives. When it's damaged..." She trailed off, staring at the pieces spread across the workbench. "It's like losing a part of yourself," Marcus finished. He'd begun to understand the depth of her trauma. This wasn't just about broken equipment. It was about severed connections, lost identity. "My brother designed this suit," she said quietly. "Kale was the finest techsmith on our homeworld. He said it would keep me safe." Her voice broke slightly. "He died in the ambush trying to protect me." Marcus's hands stilled. Now he understood the tears, the grief that seemed to permeate everything about her. She wasn't just a survivor, she was carrying the weight of everyone she'd lost. "Tell me about him," Marcus said, continuing his work, but listening intently. Zyra's silver eyes grew distant. "Kale was younger than me, but brilliant. While the first trained with weapons, he studied the old technologies. He believed that understanding our gear was just as important as knowing how to fight." She touched one of the damaged biosensors. "He spent months crafting each component, attuning it to my specific neural patterns." "Sounds like he loved you very much," Marcus said gently. He was supposed to stay behind, safe in the command center. But when the Korvac attacked, he came to help repair damaged suits on the battlefield. A pulse blast caught him. She couldn't finish the sentence. Marcus worked in respectful silence for a while, then said, "You know, I had a sister once, Jenny. She was killed in a mining accident on Kepler 442b. I blamed myself for months, thinking I should have been there, should have somehow prevented it." Zyra looked up, surprised by his openness. "Point is," Marcus continued, "guilt is a heavy burden. But I learned that the best way to honor someone's memory isn't to carry their death around like a stone. It's to carry their love, their hopes, their dreams." "How do you do that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "You live," Marcus said simply. "You use what they gave you, what they taught you, to keep fighting. Your brother built this suit to protect you. Don't let his sacrifice be meaningless." For the first time since she'd arrived, Zyra smiled. It was small, fragile, but real. The storm arrives 3 days into the repairs. The station's alarms began screaming. Marcus looked up from the neural interface he'd been painstakingly rebuilding, his heart sinking as he recognized the pattern. Long-range sensors had detected incoming ships. "Korvac?" Zyra asked, already reaching for her partially repaired helmet. "Has to be," Marcus said, pulling up the tactical display. 12 ships, moving fast. They'll be here within the hour. Station Delta 7 wasn't a military installation. It was a research and repair facility, home to 300 scientists, engineers, and support staff. They had minimal defenses, designed more for asteroid deflection than warfare. "You need to evacuate," Zyra said, standing and reaching for her damaged armor. "I'll buy you time." "With broken gear?" Marcus shook his head. "The neural interface isn't finished. One wrong move and it could fry your nervous system." "Then I'll die fighting instead of running," she replied, her warrior's pride reasserting itself. Marcus grabbed her arm. "Wait, there might be another way." He turned to his workstation, pulling up schematics he'd been working on. "I've been studying human Zephyrian tech integration. Our neural implants aren't as sophisticated as your biorhythmic systems, but they're more adaptable." "What are you suggesting?" "A hybrid interface. I can't finish your original system in time, but I can create a bridge between human and Zephyrian technology. It won't be perfect, but it might give you enough function to fight." Zyra stared at him. "You're talking about untested technology. The neural feedback could kill both of us. Better than letting the Korvac slaughter everyone on this station," Marcus said, already gathering components. "Besides, I'm not letting you face them alone. You're not a warrior, Marcus. You're a mechanic." He looked up from his work, meeting her silver eyes with steady determination. "Lady, I've been fighting broken machinery my whole life. Time to fight something that shoots back." Together, they worked with desperate efficiency. Marcus's hands moved with practiced precision, connecting human neural mesh to Zephyrian biocircuits. The hybrid system was crude, held together by determination and hope, but it was their only chance. "This will hurt," Marcus warned as he prepared the interface crown. "Pain is temporary," Zyra replied, echoing what seemed to be a warrior's motto. Death is permanent. The connection process was agony. Marcus felt his consciousness slam into Zira's, their neural patterns fighting to synchronize. Her memories flooded through him, the ambush, her brother's death, the weight of survivor's guilt. But underneath it all, he felt something else. An unbreakable will to protect others, no matter the cost. When the interface stabilized, they were no longer just human and Zephyrian. They were something new, a hybrid consciousness, sharing one deadly purpose. "How do you feel?" Marcus asked, his voice strange in his own ears. "Like I have a brother again," Zira whispered, tears streaming down her face. But these weren't tears of grief, they were tears of hope. United, we stand. The first Korvac dropships hit the station's outer hull like meteorites. Marcus felt the impact through the neural link, Zira's enhanced senses painting a tactical picture in his mind. 20 soldiers per ship, heavily armed, moving with the confidence of predators who'd never faced real resistance. "They're coming through sectors 7 and 12, Zira reported, her voice carrying new strength. The hybrid armor responded to their shared will, systems coming online with a harmonic hum that sent vibrations through the station's hull. Marcus's consciousness rode alongside hers, his human intuition complementing her warrior's instincts. Through the link, he could feel the station's layout like a three-dimensional map, could sense the locations of every civilian they needed to protect. "Evacuation pods are launching from the North Bay," he said, his awareness expanded beyond anything he'd thought possible. "But they're not going to make it. There's a squad moving to intercept." "Then we stop them," Zira replied, and Marcus felt her determination burn through their connection like fire. They moved through the corridors with impossible coordination. The hybrid armor was crude compared to Zira's original equipment, but it was theirs, built from human ingenuity and Zephyrian warrior spirit. Where her people's technology was elegant and refined, this was brutal and effective. The first group of Korvac soldiers they encountered never knew what hit them. Zira's combat skills, enhanced by Marcus's mechanical intuition, turned her into something beyond either of their species. She fought with the fury of the bereaved and the precision of someone who understood every bolt and circuit in her equipment. "Behind." "You?" Marcus warned, his enhanced awareness picking up movement in the ventilation system. Zira spun, her plasma rifle tracking the threat before it could emerge. The Korvac soldier dropped from the ceiling directly into her line of fire, his expression of surprise frozen as he disintegrated. "How did you know?" she asked, already moving toward the next threat. "Your brother's neural patterns," Marcus replied, understanding flooding through him. "The ones encoded in your original gear, they're still there, fragmented but recoverable. I've been unconsciously reconstructing them." Through their link, Marcus felt Zira's amazement. The hybrid interface wasn't just connecting them. It was rebuilding the bond she'd lost when her brother died. Every repair he'd made, every connection he'd rewired, had been guided by patterns deeper than conscious thought. "Kale," she whispered. And for a moment, Marcus felt a presence in their shared consciousness, gentle, protective, proud of what they'd become. The final confrontation came in the station's central hub, where the last group of civilians waited for evacuation. The Korvac commander, a massive being with scales like armor plating, stood among his soldiers with the confidence of someone who'd never been defeated. "Surrender the station," he demanded, his voice carrying the authority of absolute power. "Your resistance is meaningless." "Meaningless?" Zira stepped forward, her hybrid armor gleaming with inner fire. "You killed my brother. You destroyed my unit. You think that's meaningless?" "I think you're alone," the commander replied, raising his weapon. "She's not alone," Marcus said, his voice carried through the armor speakers. "And neither are we." The battle was fierce but brief. The Korvac had expected to face a broken warrior with damaged equipment. Instead, They found something they'd never encountered: human determination, fused with Zephyrian skill, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. Legacy of Hope. 1 week later, Marcus stood in his workshop, putting the finishing touches on a new piece of equipment. The hybrid interface technology had proven more successful than anyone had dared hope. Word had spread through the galaxy: humans and Zephyrians working together, sharing technology and consciousness in ways that seemed impossible. "The Council wants to meet with us," Zira said, entering the workshop with a data pad in her hands. "They're calling it the greatest breakthrough in interspecies cooperation since the Galactic Accords." Marcus smiled, not looking up from his work. "What do you think?" "I think they're missing the point," she replied, settling into what had become her usual chair. "This isn't about technology. It's about understanding." Through their permanent neural link, Marcus felt her contentment. The grief was still there. It always would be, but it no longer defined her. She'd learned to carry her brother's memory as a source of strength rather than pain. "The new suits are ready," Marcus said, gesturing to the equipment lining the walls. "Full hybrid systems, designed from the ground up for human Zephyrian teams. We've got volunteers from both species wanting to try them." "Good," Zira said, her silver eyes bright with purpose. "The Korvac are regrouping. They'll be back with more ships, better weapons. We need to be ready." "We will be," Marcus assured her. "But this time, we won't be facing them alone." The door chimed, and 2 figures entered: Lieutenant Jake Morrison, a human pilot, and Zara, a young Zephyrian engineer. They were the first volunteers for the new hybrid program, their faces showing the same mixture of determination and apprehension that Marcus remembered from his own first connection. "Ready for this?" Marcus asked them. "As ready as anyone can be for having their brain rewired by a crazy mechanic," Jake replied with a grin. "He's not crazy," Zira interjected. "He's brilliant. There's a difference." "Barely," Marcus laughed, then grew serious. "What we're doing here isn't just about fighting the Korvac. We're proving that different species can work together, can become something more than they were apart. Every successful link, every team we create, is a step toward a future where cooperation replaces conquest." As they began the integration process, Marcus felt Zira's presence in his mind, steady, strong, unafraid. Through their link, he could sense her brother's influence too, the gentle engineer's touch that had made their connection possible. "Thank you," she said quietly, the words carrying multiple meanings. "For what?" "For seeing me as more than just a broken warrior. For believing that something beautiful could come from something broken." Marcus smiled, his hands steady as he worked on the new neural interface. "That's what mechanics do," he said. "We take things that are broken and make them whole again. Sometimes, if we're lucky, we make them better than they were before." Outside the workshop, the stars wheeled in their ancient dance, and somewhere among them, the Korvac gathered their forces. But here, in this small room on Station Delta 7, hope was being born, one connection at a time, one team at a time, one shared dream at a time. The tears had been washed away by purpose, and the galaxy would never be the same. The end